Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. So, originally I was planning on getting this episode out during the weekend. Didn't quite work out that way. I had a lot of real life stuff I had to get done, which was canning, a lot of canning, and still working on it, but not as heavily. We got the key things out of the way that we had to get done, so... but anyways, we're going to go ahead and jump right into what we're going to be doing today. We are going to be starting on to power. I did do a little bit of automation over here. I added some new machines. You can see there is an advanced assembling machine sitting right here. This one actually has a fluid extractor next to it. The fluid extractor is not currently plugged up to the system. Right now this is actually kind of manual. If we order a LV or MV pump, it'll send the items to the advanced assembling machine. But then the fluid, because it varies from pump to pump, we actually manually insert. Later on it's going to be a little bit different where it'll send it to a chest, and then that chest is going to send the metals that need to be melted down to the fluid extractor, and then everything else goes in the assembling machine, but not yet. Not right this second. Right now I've just got it semi-manual where I extract the fluids myself. And then there's also an electric furnace. It doesn't currently have any recipes in it, but I know that I find myself needing a furnace a lot, so I did set one of those up, and it's plugged up for automation, just not currently, no patterns. So, but what we are going to be doing today, getting into power. Actually, before we do that though, there's one thing that I want to do. Right down here, we've got a Spector Sapling. I want to go ahead and grab this. And a little bit later this episode, we're actually going to set up barrels for it. But for right now, I'm actually just going to set up the sapling and get this running. I want to add Spector saplings into our tree beacon farm that's right here. So let's go ahead and drop that. And let me pop up here and get some bone meal real quick. And we'll just toss this into the macerator, get that breaking down. And... getting us a bit of bone meal, and also I've been processing some gallium. Here soon we're going to be overhauling all of this, but for right now what I'm doing is I've actually got the conduit shut off and I'm moving it over to the forge hammer. That way it can produce the gallium for us, because if we have to skip the ore washing plant for this, for making gallium with that method. So, but we've actually got 54, so we've got quite a bit of gallium. I did go mining for bauxite between episodes. Just a little bit of bauxite. Alright, let's grab ourselves some bone meal. And let's see if we can get this sapling grown. I'm thinking it should grow right here. Maybe. Oh, you can't bone meal these. Okay. Okay, so I'll just have to wait a while to see if it'll grow. I'm thinking it should right there. But that's fine. Okay, so we'll go ahead and switch gears then. And what I want to do, the very first thing I want to do is get some fertile soil, which we're going to need bone meal for that. I'm actually probably going to end up getting a little bit more of this, but we'll see. Yeah, I know I'll need more, but I'll get that sorted here in a minute. So let's just grab as much as we can. There's 48, sounds good. And then I'm going to want a couple plant things. I'm going to want the plant gatherer and the plant sower. Well, I think I'm going to need the sower. Let's get the plant gatherer first. And I'm going to need most of this stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and just teach it how to make the gold gear. There we go. I did teach it copper nickel blocks because I was making that furnace and it required copper nickel. So I went ahead and taught it how to make 1 times and 2 times copper nickel. So, alright. And I taught it how to make copper nickel alloy through the alloy smelter. I've been teaching it like a lot of things that just kind of come up, basically, at this point. Alright, but let's go ahead and get ourselves... I'm going to need sticks. Alright, let's get ourselves like 2 axes and a hoe. And then we're also going to want to get... I need 2 gold gears. And then I'm going to need an MV machine hull. And then I'm going to need a couple pieces of plastic sheets, which I think I've got some of those down here. Oh, I've got it right here. Okay, let me just grab that out, because we're going to need that. And then I'm probably going to be waiting on this extruder. Making those gold gears is actually pretty slow at the moment. Okay, there is our plant gatherer. Whoops. Okay. And then we are going to want to get ourselves... actually, I've got one over here, I think. Yeah, I'm going to grab the CEU. And then let's grab some conduits. And then I did make some barrels and some void upgrades between episodes. We're going to go ahead and grab those. I might use some of those down there. And then I also need to pop over and grab some seeds. And it actually doesn't really matter, I don't think, because we're going to be going with the seed oil method. And Fluid Transposer. I mean, I think it's most any Pam's Harvestcraft seeds. And then a few other things like canola seeds. It seems, I went through here and it seems like they all make 50 millibuckets. Anything through the Fluid Transposer makes 50 millibuckets. So let me pop over to our farm area. And I think what we're going to use is going to be soybeans. I need to get back over here building in this area because I kind of got sidetracked and we haven't really been over here much. I come over here every once in a while to make food and that's about it. So let's go ahead and warp on home. And where we're going to set this up, actually, where a lot of our power systems are going to be is down in here. Actually, that opposite room where we originally started steam is going to be a power system, or going to be power-related stuff a bit later on. So, oh, I forgot my hammer. Forgot to grab that. That's fine. I'll just use this. And this is 9 wide, which is perfect. And what we're going to do is we're just going to dig out a little 9x9 area here. Yeah, for right now, what we're going to do, eventually we're probably going to have water around the edge of this. Now, you don't actually have to have water to grow crops when you're using fertile soil. But for what I want to do, we will need water. So let's go ahead and just build this out. I'm going to need a bit more fertile soil, but that's fine. And then let's go ahead and F7. And I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll just put like a torch there. Let's see. I'm going to do that for right now. So everything's all lit up. And then what we're going to do... Oh, yeah, let me plant my soybeans. Go ahead and get those put in. Basically just so it starts growing is all. Okay, so now what we need to do... I have to get more... I guess I need to get more bone meal running for starters. Wrong room. Oh, actually, while I'm over here, I want to grab something. Right here, Lily Pad of Fertility. I want to go ahead and grab that because we're going to be using that. Now, you can also use the sprinkler from Cyclic. And I don't know. But eventually we'll get into some rituals that's actually going to speed this area up as well. And we're going to increase the number of lily pads of fertility. I'm going with those because they do stack extremely well. And you can walk over them and they have a larger range and all that good stuff. Like vertical range. So we can actually, later on, we can stack this farm. So, water bucket, and I'm going to need some range upgrades for our plant gatherer. We'll get those here in just a minute. What we're going to do is, oh yeah, I forgot to get the bone meal going. I'll get that in just a second. We'll go ahead and put the lily pad of fertility in right there. And then let me go get some bone meal. Which actually, whenever I break those stones around there, it might actually cause the water to flow. Unless I'm just extremely fast at it. And it might break that. That's fine. If so, whoops. I keep not going in the room is the issue. But yeah, a lot of the power stuff that we're going to be setting up is going to be down in our basement. Is where we're going to have it all set up at. That still has not grown. Alright. What if I back it off to say right there then? Normally if you want these, I had that one lying around, but normally if you want these, if you have a sapling and you just right click it with a little bit of ectoplasm, which we got a bunch of that a while back, it'll make the Spector Sapling. Okay, there's another 16 fertile soil. Awesome. Okay, I got all that changed over without the lily pad getting broken, so there we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come out to right here, and we're going to place down our plant gatherer. No, it's got to be turned around. which that's fine. I'm going to have to get back here anyways. So we'll put it setting right there. And then once this thing has power, of course, it's going to gather up all the crops in front of it. We'll just leave it on gather anything. Show the working area. That's all it's harvesting at the moment. We're going to have to get some upgrades for this. And yeah, and it's going to make sludge. We'll get into that in a minute as well. We're going to refine that. It's got a lot of nice things that can come from it. Okay, so let's pull up the range upgrades. And we want to get... okay, yeah, we just need a range 4. So that's even easier. Later on, we might upgrade it. Maybe make a bigger farm area or something. But honestly, I think a 9x9 is going to be great for us starting out. I do believe. So to make the range 4, we're going to need 10 plates. We're going to need polyethylene sheets and good electronic circuit or equivalent. So let's pull that up. Okay, I've got 6 of those right now. Okay, yeah. All I'm missing is the polyethylene sheets. So I'm going to have to get those real quick. There are 6 of our polyethylene sheets. What all are these actually even used for? Polyethylene pipes. All the plastic blocks need it. And the lights and the other plastic blocks and the other lights. Wither builder, which we're going to get into before too long. Block placer. Separator, range add-ons. Destination analyzer. Data sticks. Oh yeah, we use them for capacitors. Okay, so I want the range add-on. Boom, there we go. There is our +4 range add-on. And then let's pop down to here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just apply this. Boom. And now you can see that it covers this entire field. Exactly. So with a range 4 add-on, you can do a 9x9 field. Which a 9x9, the reason I'm going, or the specific reason I'm going with a 9x9, is aside from it being a convenient farm layout, of course with fertile soil it doesn't really matter. You don't have to put water blocks if you don't want to. Eventually we'll probably have bigger areas, but the Pad of Fertility covers a 9x9 farm. So it actually kind of works out for us. Long term, what we'll probably do is be using either Astral Sorcery or Blood Magic. I guess we could use Thaumcraft. Why bother when we have Blood Magic and Astral Sorcery? There's a half stack. We'll be using rituals to boost the speed of everything, so that's actually not going to be that important. But for right now, we're going to use the Pad of Fertility because it's convenient, and it should produce enough for our needs at the moment, thanks to Pam's Harvestcraft actually having a lot of output from its crops. And the nice thing is, you're going to get like seeds, and you're going to get the crop, and usually about 3 of the crop, and the crop can then be turned into seeds. So you can actually get quite a bit, generally like 4 or 5 per harvest, using the Pam's Harvestcraft. Like there would have been 2 seeds, there would be another 2 seeds, and so on. Not quite as much, but like 2 to 4 maybe, something like that. But it's pretty good. So okay, so that's in place. Now I just can't remember if it's going to break the crops or not with Industrial 4 going. I can't remember. So if it does break the crops, we're going to have to put a Plant Sower down here. If it doesn't break the crops, then we won't need the Plant Sower. So we're going to find out in just a minute. So I am going to need another range add-on, probably a +4, but we'll check here in just a moment. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I've got my CEU ready, and I think the next thing I want to do is I want to make a battery, and we'll make either lithium or cadmium. I can't remember which one I have a bunch of. Do I want to do this method? I'm just going to do I've got 2 of these right here, so. Okay, I'm going to need some lithium or some cadmium. Let's see. Ideally, we would have cadmium, but I don't actually think... No, I don't have any cadmium. I'm pretty sure we have lithium, though, around here somewhere. Okay, I don't think I have cadmium or lithium on hand, but what I do have is I have sodium on hand. It's not a big, it doesn't really matter to me which one I get. I just want one of them. Just one of them to kind of jumpstart some things. And we're going to be using a little bit at this episode. Let me go ahead and move this canning machine over. And we're just going to set it up right there. Dump that in and that in. And boom, there's our sodium battery. And then what we're going to do is let's just dump in our battery. We're going to get this thing charging. Just really, really quick. And this is all just going to be kind of to jumpstart our system for us. And give me a second. I'm going to look up the Spector Saplings and see what triggers them to grow, what they need. Okay, I think it's just going to take a while, I believe. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make a Fluid Transposer, which I have like nothing for. Awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and teach it a couple things. I want to teach you how to make a bronze gear. ULV, it's wrought iron. For that. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and order a couple of those gears. It should be able to make the bronze for us. There we go. Get that going. Our battery is just about charged up. Okay, this is filled up. Let's go ahead and grab that. And we'll take the CEU with us as well. And let's pop down. We're also going to have to process the sludge. We'll do that later. It's actually not a big concern to us right this second. And what we're going to do for right now, we're going to have our CEU just sitting right there. And we're going to drop in our battery. And there we go. It's going to charge this up, and this is going to start gathering the plants. Now, yeah, it looks like it's just right-click harvesting. So in that case, we're actually not going to need a sower. We're just going to need the gatherer, and that's it. So it's going to make this. It's also going to produce the sludge. The sludge we'll be able to use because it can basically be processed down for byproducts. So if we take a look here, you can make podzol, slag, gravel, clay, pulped biomass, dirt, sand, glauconite, sand, and sawdust. It is gathering. Oh no. So we are going to need a sower then, in that case. That's fine. Yeah, this isn't even using like hardly any power from this. Okay, that was the main thing I wanted to check was, are we going to need a sower? And the answer is a resounding yes. We are going to need a sower. And it looks like this does have some small passive draw. Which is what another thing I was curious about. So I could either toggle this thing on and off. Oh, which we could do, or just not worry about it having it running all the time. I'm not sure. Probably just all the time, because eventually it's probably going to be a huge farmland, so there's stuff to harvest like constant. And especially once we get into acceleration stuff. But you're talking right there. Right there would be, 3.5 stacks of soybean seeds. Yeah, right there. And those can be ran through. Fluid Transposer makes 50 millibuckets. Now, part of the reason I'm going with soybeans is once it backs up, we can actually pull these out, and we'll be able to use these for making our firm tofu. Because that's another thing that we're going to do here soon, is we're going to automate this whole process of making, not through this method, we're going to use the centrifuge method, make the firm tofu, and that way we can start mass producing cellular blocks. Not really mass produce, well, we're only using like 6 at a time, and it takes like a minute per use, but yeah, we'll be using them for our Britannia setup that, we talked about before. Of course, it's not going to be all that often, because until we get the Terra Shatterer, which may not be too far from now, but until we get that, we don't have to, we're not going to be using that much mana, so. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to need to also make a Plant Sower, which is this right here. So I'm basically just going to need a couple pistons, another MV machine hull, flower pot, iron gears. I don't think I've taught it how to make iron gears yet. I have not. Okay, so for right now, I'm going to set our CEU back up, let it charge the battery back up. And I think we're probably ready to make our Fluid Transposer now. So there's that. That uses red alloy cable. Okay, I don't have any of that, but I might over here. Yeah, I've got 29, so. And then we're going to grab some reinforced glass because if I recall, we need that as well. And there's that. There is that. Okay, so there is our first fluid transposer. So yay. We're going to use that here in just a minute to start producing seed oil. And this portable tank we're going to use, let's take a look here, the Spector coil. Once we start getting the Spector, once the Spector sapling grows, it's just taking forever. Okay, well I'm going to get the Plant Sower made. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's pop down, I'm just going to pull this up. Just go down to here. We're going to drop that right there, and let's say show working area. You can see right here is where it plants right now. So we're going to need another range add-on for this. Oops. We'll go ahead and hide working area, and we're going to say crop hoeing is disabled. Alright, so let's go ahead and get another range add-on 4, first and foremost. There's that. And then I'm also going to want one other thing. I'm going to want a crafter. And ideally I would like something maybe like an analog. Well, I can't get an analog crafter. Mechanical crafter. Can't get that one. I could make a crafty crate if I had Dreamwood. Which I haven't done that yet. Well, one second. Let's go ahead. I mean, technically there's always Super Factory Manager, but it has some performance issues, so we're not going to go with that. Or it did. I don't trust it at this point. Okay, so there we go. It covers the same field area. And actually, I wonder something. Let me grab these. I wonder if it can plant soybeans. I'm going to go ahead and lock its inventory. And I wonder if it can plant these. In theory, I think it would be able to. Because I think it just takes the item and just tries to use it. So, but maybe not. And right now, power is going to be maybe a little bit scarce. Honestly, I don't even think I'm going to run all this stuff right this second. Like all at once. I'm just kind of testing some things because we'll have Spector coils hopefully soon. And what we'll do is we're just going to stick Spector coils on all these machines. So we'll get into that hopefully soon. Maybe next episode or something. I don't know. We shall see. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our CEU there. We'll put our conduit there. We're going to say extract is always active. And there we go. This should be getting some power. And it looks like it is planting the soybeans. Awesome. And since we locked the inventory, that's all it can accept. Yeah, there we go. It's planting them. So let's grab all of these. And we'll just dump these into there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run some conduits real quick. We're going to have item conduit there. We're going to say that you extract green channel's fine. And then down here you can insert on the green channel. And we're going to say the priority here is priority 10. And then we'll just run this on back like so. So the plant gatherer, it can grab the soybeans and then it can send them to the plant sower if there's space available. If there's not space available, then what it's going to do is it's going to send them elsewhere. And this is where we're going to need the crafter set up. And I'm not sure if I want the whole biofuel system over here or not. Maybe. So what I would do is I would have the fluid transposer set. I'm actually going to inset it. Oh, there's going to be a railing right there. So let's actually inset it right here. And then we'll have kind of maybe a glass wall setting here, maybe. And we'll have our fluid transposer setting right there. We're going to say that you can input, well, we'll say that you can input through the bottom. And we're going to say empty. And then what we're going to do is pop down. I may need more conduits. That's fine. That's why I crafted up a few of those. And what we'll do is we'll just run this out. We'll also have to run a sludge line, which we'll do that later. And we'll just put our conduit here, and we're going to say that you can insert. We're going to leave the priority as 0, though. And then, boom, plug that up. So if it can't send the soybeans over... Oh, wait, I need a... Before I do that, though, I need a crafter. It has to go through a crafter first. So, auto input. It can auto input. So what we'll do is we'll just move the... we'll have the crafter there. We'll have the fluid transposer setting there. It can pull from the bottom. Auto input is enabled. It's set to empty. And then there is going to be one other place where the... we'll actually set the priority... Well, we'll do that in just a moment. We're going to actually set the priority to like 1 instead of just 0. Because we're going to have one other place that soybeans can go, and that is to Overstock Storage. And Overstock Storage is basically where we're going to filter stuff for the cellular blocks. So once we have enough soybeans and it's not going to impact our power, then it can filter off and make manna for Britannia. So that's the plan anyways. Okay, actually change of plans. We are going to use the Arcane Pattern Crafter instead. It shouldn't require anything, I don't think. And we're going to change up a couple things here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put our barrel setting there. And so it can pump the soybeans into here. And I've got to figure out where my key is at. And I can't recall if this thing will gather if there's no space, but I don't know. I'm going to put a void upgrade on there just to be on the safe side. So it can gather up soybeans. Let me make sure all this is configured correctly. I didn't even think about the Arcane Pattern Crafter being there because this thing's actually kind of nice. Okay, we should be good. Now, what we're going to do is, let's see, how do we want to do this? We can facade all of this. We'll have to get a painting machine, but that's fine. Whoops. What we'll do is we'll say that you can extract always active, and we're going to have a little setup here. And this is going to have a chest setting here, a chest setting here, and then our Arcane Pattern Crafter setting right there. And then, okay, that's what I want to do. We can do this, and we can toggle how we want things to be placed out. And so I'm going to set it to that. We just want one item per craft. And then we're going to say you can insert, and you can see it's starting to run, and it's crafting soybeans. It's kind of cool to watch too. Because basically what it's doing is it's taking those soybeans from the chest above it. Let me actually remove this so we can actually open up the chest. It's taking these soybeans from the chest above it. Now, granted, it's not as fast as if we went with the Crafter Tier 1. But I think it's going to be plenty fast for our needs. Well, no. Maybe not long term. But for right now. For right now, it's going to be plenty fast for our needs. Long term, we will probably have to upgrade to a Crafter Tier 1 with a speed upgrade in it. Or not a speed upgrade, but set to fast mode. I think. But for right now, this is going to be plenty for us. And then what we're going to do is, let me open this up just a little bit more. We are going to set up our Fluid Transposer. It's going to be setting right here. And honestly, one Fluid Transposer is going to be enough for a long, long time. We're going to set it to empty. And we're going to say auto input is enabled. So it should be able to pull the soybean seeds. There we go. And then if we were to set up our CEU now, right there, which all this will be running on its own, the Plant Sower, the Plant Gatherer, the Fluid Transposer, all these things will be running soon enough on their own. And I can lock that, I will. I just have to go find my key. So I think I know where it's at. But, so anyways, it's going to take the soybean seeds. It does get faster as it gets more power built up in here. Right now it's a little bit slow because there's not much power in here. But it's going to start producing seed oil, 50 millibuckets per operation. And if we pull up, oh, and the crafter, by the way, this thing's very easy to craft, just requiring this stuff. Simple arcane mechanism, you know, we've crafted these before. V resonators, we've got a bunch of those from when I bulk crafted them. Overall, it's pretty cheap to craft. So the seed oil, though, if we pull this up, what we can do with this is we can combine this in the 6,000 millibuckets of seed oil and 1,000 methanol or ethanol is going to make us 1,000 millibuckets of glycerol and then 6,000 millibuckets of biodiesel. So we get 1-to-1 ratio on the seed oil. We just have to also make the methanol to make that. And I can't remember, what all can we actually use this for? Stuff. We can electrolyze it, get carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and then we can also use it to make this stuff here. So more fluids. What we'll do is we'll probably just stockpile it. So 6,000 millibuckets of seed oil, it sounds like a lot, but the nice thing is the biodiesel, every single millibucket of biodiesel produces 256 EU at a rate of 32 EU per tick. Of course, the better, that's just the LV. If you upgrade to the advanced diesel, it's going to output 128, and there's 512, and that, you know, diesel engine, that's for the more advanced stuff. That's a multi-block. So for every 6,000 seed oil that we produce, which actually, I mean, you saw a stack gets, well, it wasn't quite a stack, but a stack is going to get us over halfway, right, to 6,000 millibuckets of seed oil. So for every stack in 40 or, you know, something like that, well, no, almost 2 stacks. Almost 2 stacks of seeds is going to produce us, though, 1,536 EU. Right? Now, granted, some of that's going to have to get used for power because we have to run the plant gatherer, the plant sower, the fluid transposer, and then there's a couple other machines that we're going to have to run for this process because now we have the seed oil, but now we have to make the methanol or ethanol, which is wood vinegar, fermented biomass, this stuff here. You can also do it with carbon dioxide and hydrogen right there, but it's going to produce a lot of power, especially once we get the crop harvest times on this up really fast. Right now I'm actually probably just going to manually harvest until we get this fully up and running because like this right here, just one harvest of this field is, yeah, basically one harvest of the field is going to be more than enough to get 1.5 million EU. So you can see just one harvest I got about 2.5 stacks of, and actually I think there was a few crops that weren't fully grown, but about 2.5 stacks of soybeans. So we'll just dump those in there and get that thing kicking away and the fluid transposer running, making a bit more seed oil. And then what we're going to do is, I guess I'm going to put a portable tank up there so it can start outputting that seed oil. So there we go. So that way we can store up 80,000 seed oil, and then we can upgrade that, of course, and then we can enchant it if we want to and store more seed oil. But for right now, I'm just going to manually harvest until we get all this fully automated. So, which I think might be next episode. I got to check the length of the footage, and I've got to get a chemical reactor set up, and I got to make a couple machines, basically. So I'm going to cut for just a little bit. I'll be back in a little while. I'm going to get this footage edited, see how much time we have, and see if we have time to get into it. It's going to be a 2-part thing, though, because we still have to do Spector coils, and we're going to do our big RF system with Spector coils and all that fun stuff. So, but I'll be back here in just a little bit. And we've actually almost got enough seed oil to make our first batch of biodiesel. So, yay. Okay, I wanted to pop you guys in because we're actually getting pretty close to 3 million worth of EU production. So that's going to be great. The nice thing is, like with Steam, for example, I mean, right now this is a very small scale system that we're setting up, but we're going to expand on it pretty rapidly. As soon as we need, probably well before we actually need power, we're going to be producing more power, you know, than what we need. So it's very easy to scale up. But the nice thing is, like steam, for example, if you were making like HV power, that's 512, and you know our steam turbine. And I'm not actually ready to continue on, but I just want to pop you guys in here really quick, show you this. Our steam turbine produces you know, about 900 millibuckets per tick. Okay, it uses to run an HV. This is why we always have power trouble with HV. It uses 512 steam per tick to produce HV level power at 512 EU per tick. So it's very inefficient. Steam's just bad, and that's why it's hard for us to keep up with our fluid mover to actually move enough fluid to run everything. But when we're only using 1 millibucket of something to produce 256, it's going to be a whole lot easier to move that stuff. But what I wanted to bring you guys back for is our Spector Sapling finally did grow. So we should be producing, I wanted to get this set up really quick so we can start building up this stuff. We should be producing our ectoplasm. So if we pop over here and we take a quick look, there's Spector wood. Oh no, it's getting sent to the trash can. Stop for just a moment. Let's just set this to never active for just a minute. Okay. And what we're going to do, we're going to set up, there's going to be a pyrolise oven setting right over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a barrel line that sets right here. I'm actually going to have a few other things that go on this barrel line. So I'm going to go ahead and just put 5 of those for right now. And let's pop over, and I'm going to grab one of our storage keys, and I'm going to grab a few more item conduits because we're going to need just a few more of these to run this over. It was actually right after I came up from the last recording, I noticed our Spector tree had grown, so I was like, yeah, that's good. Okay, so what we need to do, this is all pumping in on the green line. This is a priority of -10. Okay, so we're just going to pump in to, say, right here. We'll say that you can insert, and then we're going to bring this over. We're just going to go around like that, I think. And I have to get up around this really quick. Actually, let me break off that for just a minute, because I don't actually want this to insert until we're ready. But what I need to do is just plug that in right there. So that way it can move the items along. And then we have to check this, see if it's picked up any Spector stuff. Not yet. Oh, this is drained again. I keep refilling it. I just kind of want to build up as much seed oil as I can between, you know, cuts and episodes and stuff. We're going to have enough to make 4.5 million EU per tick. It's very possible, especially once we upgrade the Fluid Transposer, because it gets really fast. Really fast. As soon as we start having power moving through here, we are going to upgrade it so that it can produce that seed oil a bit faster. It is going to use a little bit more power. That's the reason I'm waiting until we get the Spector coil system set up. But it's very possible that we might actually have to change over to a crafter right here pretty quick, because I just don't think this is going to be able to keep up for too long for us. But let's go ahead and lock that in so that it knows, okay, soybeans is what goes here. And then it can start crafting out those soybean seeds for us. Okay, well, I'm going to let this run for a minute. I'll be back once we have some Spector stuff built up. I got to thinking I don't really need these barrel void upgrades in this system, because I've got that trash can there that doesn't have a filter, so anything extra just goes in there. But anyways, we do have some ectoplasm. We've gotten 2. It takes a while, I've noticed. But by the time we do next episode, which is when we'll need Spector coils, we'll have plenty of ectoplasm. And I've got 4 here that was from a quest a bit back. So let's grab that. Let's grab our Spector saplings and our Spector wood. And we're just going to go ahead and slot in ectoplasm, Spector wood, Spector saplings into this. And then we're going to go ahead and just lock it in. Boom. And, oh, let's see. Let's go ahead and do that. you can insert, you can insert, you can insert. Let's go ahead and set the priority to like 5. Just to make sure. And we'll go ahead and connect that up. And then we're going to set this to extract is always active. And I should get, 4 saplings and a bit of wood. Should. I just want to make sure this is working correctly. Okay, it seems to be. And there's our 4 sapling. Okay, awesome. So that's depositing it correctly into where it goes. Now technically, since we have the trash can, we could use caches here, but I actually kind of like the barrels, the color and everything. Caches would give us more storage, but do we actually need more storage for this stuff? Not at all. So we're not going to worry about that. But okay, so ectoplasm is going to start building up between this episode and next. But we're not quite done. We're not quite done right now. The next thing I want to do is I want to set up a little node system. And we're going to set an input node that's going to set right here. And we're just going to grab this as a connection. And then we're going to pop down stairs. I'm actually going to pull up a lot of this stuff because I got to thinking, and this thing is great. It's great if you don't need something like just tons of it. It's very, very good. But the thing is, in truth, we need tons of these seeds coming out. Not right now. Right now, the Arcane Pattern Crafter would be fine for us. But long term, it's not going to be fine for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a crafter. And this crafter is going to be setting... we're going to put it right here, let's say. So we'll go ahead and pull off that conduit. And then we're going to have a conduit that comes out there. And we're going to turn off the extract. We're going to say that you can insert there. And we're going to turn off the auto input for this. And then let's pop down here. And oh wait, no, we're not going to do that yet. Because we're going to have to set a filter, which we'll do that in just a minute. And this crafter will require power, but it's going to be able to keep up with our speed because we're going to set this to fast, so it'll be able to craft stuff quickly when that time comes. And then let's go ahead and just slot soybeans and soybeans right there. And then what I want to do is I want to grab, I'm just going to harvest all of these real quick. And we're going to go ahead and slot soybeans in all of these spots. Yeah, all but 5 of them, we'll say. And we'll just dump these into there. And then let's dig this back just a little bit here. We're just going to have kind of a wall of processing going on. And then we're going to set up our master routing node right there. Connect that. And then we're going to grab our master node and we're going to connect up our output node here. And connect that. Okay, so it's going to start dumping sodium hydroxide dust into here. And let me grab one of these, and we're going to get ourselves some tiny piles of sodium hydroxide dust and put it right into there. And then we're going to say, remember the current items in the internal and external buffers. Okay, so now we can compact all this stuff, and that'll be fine. It's going to lock. Only soybeans can go here. Only tiny piles of sodium hydroxide dust can go here. Only soybean seeds can go here. That way nothing can back up, because this is going to be the 2 things that we run through here. First up, we're going to teach you the recipe, and we're going to say soybeans. It moves to the external. Everything else is good. Let's apply. Okay, so soybean seeds, it knows how to make those. And then the other thing we're going to teach you how to make is tiny piles of sodium hydroxide dust, and just apply that. Okay, and that's going to be important because when it comes time for seed oil, and we go to make our chemical reactor stuff with the methanol and the seed oil, we need tiny piles of sodium hydroxide dust as well. And then what we'll do is we'll set up a conduit line that pumps out, say, right there. And it's going to go into the advanced chemical reactor, which is going to be setting... we'll have it sitting right here, actually. So we'll just pump that over, and we'll say that you can insert. And the extracts are going to have filters because we only want soybean seeds to come here. We only want sodium hydroxide dust to come up this way. And then we're going to have a fluid conduit that pulls that out, power behind it, and then the fluid, the resulting fluid will get sent out. And we'll have 2 resulting fluids, which we'll get into this next episode. We'll have glycerol, we'll have biodiesel. Biodiesel is what we want to stay stockpiled on. The glycerol is kind of a byproduct. We'll deal with that. We'll basically stock it, and then excess will get trashed. Even though, well, actually excess probably won't get trashed. Probably what we'll do is we'll have excess, because I saw something here. Yeah, glycerol, we can pump it in and get carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen as a standalone liquid. So that's probably what we'll do with it. If we have excess over what our tank can hold, we'll pump it into an electrolyzer and deal with that. So the chemical reactor setup, and actually next episode we're going to be getting into some new multi-block stuff. We're going to be getting into Release oven, which we've covered before, but we're going to be automating one of those, and then we're also going to be setting up and automating a distillation tower. So fun times. Very, very fun times. Okay, so let me pop up and let me get a couple filters real quick so that we can filter the outputs. We're kind of getting everything set up, so next episode we can just, it's basically just setting up a new multi-block and getting some power ran to jumpstart the system, and then we'll be producing biodiesel. So, okay, I just want some basic item filters. I'm just going to craft these like that, just because it's quicker than putting it through the assembler. Okay, so we got our 2 basic item filters. And I did grab some fluid conduits as well, just some pressurized ones, which will be plenty fast for what we need to do. And so what we're going to do is, let's grab ourselves 1 soybean seed, 1 tiny pile of sodium hydroxide, and we're going to set up a filter here. This one is going to pull out soybeans, and then we'll say you can extract always active. And I think, yeah, that's full right now, but it will be able to pull them out. And then over here, we'll drop in another filter. Edit it. Sodium hydroxide, and extract is always active. Okay, so if we take a look inside of here, there we go. We've got our tiny piles of sodium hydroxide dust. And once that's turned on, it'll stay stockpiled. And then I'm just going to add a conduit there. So extract is always active, and you can insert. Okay, so seed oil is going to start backing up in here now. So then once it has the, which actually, for example, what I need is the methanol or ethanol would work. I might actually have some of that stuff lying around, so it'd be kind of cool if we could make our first bits of biodiesel. Even though we can't use it really. No, I need methanol. I may not have it actually. No, I don't have any methanol. That's fine. Originally I was actually planning on going with a longer processing line, but then it was like, well, to make the methanol, we could go through this whole chemical reaction thing where we have to use carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and, you know, it's not very hard. That stuff's all automatable. But why do that when we can just do a distillation tower with wood vinegar? And it's going to produce methanol. It's going to produce water, which is just going to get trashed. But we can also produce acetic acid, ethanol, acetone, and methyl acetate. Not large amounts of those. I mean, acetic acid, we produce 100 millibuckets at a time. But most of these are pretty small amounts. But it does produce 300 millibuckets of methanol at a time. And we actually only need a measly 1,000 millibuckets of methanol with every 6,000 millibuckets of seed oil per 6,000 biodiesel per 1.5 million AU. So I figured, well, that's probably the best route. Plus, it's going to get us some other liquids that we will make use of later, which would be good to have up and going. So next episode, what we have to do is we're going to have to set up a Release oven and a distillation tower. Now, long term, that's something that we'll have to scale up because we'll need it to be faster. Because right now, I mean, the distillation tower is actually pretty quick, 2 seconds to process 1,000 millibuckets. And you can see we use 10,000 EU per operation. So we're looking at like 30,000 EU, which is, you know, a fraction of a million. 30,000, maybe what? 30,000, 33,000, 34,000, something like that EU, basically, to produce 1,000 methanol. And the distillation tower is actually the most expensive part. It's actually kind of costly, I guess, but it's actually not too bad. Now, the wood vinegar does require 40,000 there, and it does require 32 seconds. So eventually we will scale out these, but it does produce 3,000 millibuckets of wood vinegar, almost enough for 1.5 million EU there. So that's actually not too bad. Plus we'll get some charcoal as byproduct. But I think that's the method. I think we would save a little bit of power if we went the other route for producing methanol, because we would be getting like there's, well, that's 30,000. So yeah, I guess it really probably wouldn't end up coming out to be that bad, because we would, if we did that method, we would need another chemical reactor. We would need an electrolyzer that's doing water. So there's another, yeah, it's actually going to be cheaper on power to do this in that case. And then we would have to pump up the water, which that doesn't take any power. And then we would have to produce carbon, which, I mean, there's a ton of different ways. We would probably use the charcoal, but you're still looking at around 10,000. Where is the charcoal method? I'm sorry, I was going to use the centrifuge. And I was actually going to run coal coke. So 540 EU, not all that much. So it's actually going to come out to be kind of close, really, but it's a lot more processing steps if you do it that way. But this way we're going to get a whole lot of different byproducts coming out of there. I mean, we will have to trash these, but that's no biggie. So we're pretty much ready to go. I mean, you can see all we're missing right now is methanol. And then once this has power, we'll have plenty of tiny piles of sodium hydroxide. If worse comes to worse and we start running low on sodium hydroxide, what we'll do is our sodium hydroxide production is up here. It's basically a byproduct of our hydrogen and chlorine production here with salt water for our hydrochloric acid. So if worse comes to worse, I'll just start voiding these beyond this point, and it can keep producing sodium hydroxide for us. Which may actually be a thing that we're going to have to do in the near future. But right now I have like nearly 5 stacks of sodium hydroxide, so I don't think it's going to be a concern at the moment. All we have to do now then is we have to set up a pyrolysis oven and a distillation tower. So we're going to do that at the start of next episode. Give give me time to prep some things and give our ectoplasm time to build up so we can move into Spector coils. And then after that point, we'll be ready to plug all this up. I'm going to have to make some tanks and some little things like that, but nothing too major. And then we'll be ready to set all this up and start pumping in methanol, start producing biodiesel, and start making some power. And then after that, we'll just scale and scale and scale. And we'll probably up our crop growth before too long once we dive into a bit of blood magic or astral sorcery, either one. And which will actually be coming up soon, because that's like one of our next major priorities once power's sorted. So we'll start diving into that. But yeah, so we've got everything primed and ready to go for next episode, which is great. So I do believe I'm going to end out this episode here, and then next episode we'll pick back up. And I'm going to get a bit of prep and stuff and some stuff made and everything between episodes. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.